viewers, I'm Yusuf from 5 Minutes Information Channel. I once again welcome you all in this episode number 67. And in this episode, I will talk about the research hypothesis and its types. Viewer guidance notes of this video lecture available on the link of this video description. In this video, I will talk about the two important points. Number one, what is research hypothesis or definition of research hypothesis, which I was earlier discussing previous episode. And point number two, what are the different types of research hypothesis? Point number one, what is research hypothesis and definition of research hypothesis? As per Creswell, hypothesis is a formal statement that presents expected relationships between independent and dependent variables. In simple words, a hypothesis is a formal tentative statement of the expected relationship between two or more variables which is under study. The point number two, what are the different types of hypothesis? There are 10 types of hypothesis. Number one, simple hypothesis. Number two, complex hypothesis. Number three, empirical hypothesis. Number four, null hypothesis. Number five, alternative hypothesis. Number six, statistical hypothesis. Number seven, logical hypothesis. Number eight, directional hypothesis. Number nine, non-directional hypothesis. And number 10, associative and causal hypothesis. So, number one, simple hypothesis. In simple hypothesis, there is an exists relationship between two variables. One is called the independent variable or cause, and other is dependent variable or effect. Example, smoking leads to cancer, or the high ratio of unemployment leads to crime. Number two, complex hypothesis. Complex hypothesis is that one in which, as the relationship among the variables in this type of hypothesis, the dependent and independent variables are more than two. Example, smoking and other drugs leads to cancer, hypertension, and other infections. Or in a second example, the higher ratio of unemployment, poverty, and illiteracy leads to street crime, robbery, and snatching. Number three, empirical hypothesis. Empirical, which means based on evidence, scientific method. Word empirical refers to use the working of hypothesis that can be tested using the observation and experiment. Empirical data is produced by the experiment and observation. Example, velvet cloths are better for the winter season rather than cotton cloths. Number four, null hypothesis. Null hypothesis that are there is no significant difference between the specified population. Any observed difference being due to sample or experiment error. It is denoted by the H naught. Example, there is no statistically significant relationship between the types of water I feed the flower and the growth of the flower. Number fifth, alternative hypothesis. Alternative hypothesis denoted by the H1 or HA is the hypothesis sample observation are influenced by some non-random cause. Alternative hypotheses have further four types which I will explain later on. Example is there is a relationship between the amount of bill at the restaurant and the tip that was left is the difference of family restaurant, then it is a fine dining restaurant. Number six, statistical hypothesis. A hypothesis which can be verified statically is called the statistical hypothesis. The statement would be the logical or illogical, but if the statistic verified, it will be the statistical. Impossible to observe the entire population to understand the property. The only Alternative is called the random sample, and then use statistics to analyze it. Number 7, logical hypothesis. Logical hypothesis can verify logically, is known as a logical hypothesis. The process of verification involves agreement, disagreement, or difference of opinion. Example, hypothesis statement: an animal cannot survive without water. Logical verification: this is true because all living beings need water. Number 8, directional hypothesis. Directional hypothesis predicts the direction of the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. Example, high quality of nursing education will lead to high quality of nursing practice skills, or the girl's ability of learning is the moral science better than boys. Number 9, non-directional hypothesis. Non-directional hypothesis predicts the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable, but does not specify the direction of relationship. Example, teacher-student's relationship influence the student's learning. There is no significant difference between the 9th class boys and girls' abilities of learning moral values. Number 10, associative and causal hypothesis. Associative hypothesis states that there is a relationship between two variables, and it's look how a specific event occurs. Causal hypothesis states that any difference in the type of amount of one particular variable is going to directly affect the difference in the type of amount of the next variable in the equation. It looks how manipulate the effects events in the future. Here I conclude the episode number 67. I hope you learned about the what is hypothesis and its different types. I will back soon with another informative source. Stay tuned with 5 Minutes Information channel. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Comment about this video. If it is informative, please share and like. Thanks for watching till then.